Lena Rodriguez here, coming to you from day 6 of my quarantine. I seem to spend my life in quarantine. Anyway, better to be safe than sorry, as they say. So here I am coming to you from tomorrow. So one of the big stories this week was there was the first sentence handed down for the first insurrectionist on January 6th. And I can't remember his name, but it almost doesn't matter. What's important is he got an 8-month sentence. Well, is it enough, I hear you ask? I'm not into jails per se. I have to say I'm an advocate for prison farms rather than jails and all of that. I think we can do better than keeping people in cages in general. But if you're looking at the system as a system, we all know 100 stories where people have got much longer jail sentences for much less, particularly if they're not El Blanco. You know, he got 8 months. What is that? What is that? You've got an American system which is bizarre. The sentences are so heavy. Our lawyers, our criminal lawyers here can't believe the sentences that America hands down, like people get 140 years and stuff. So 8 months, it is what it is. We've got to console ourselves that he wasn't the worst of the worst. So from how I understand it, he didn't physically break in, he followed people in. He didn't physically break anything but took pictures. So let's hope that's the very minimum. And those who did more, including threatening your senior lawmakers, get, respective sentences. But that's him done for now. But the most exciting thing has to be Tom Barrack. Now, in case you've missed this development, it's huge. So Tom Barrack, billionaire, and he's been arrested. And longtime Trump ally, he brought on board Manafort and Rick Gates, but he's known Trump for decades, which says something about his personal character, doesn't it really? And Trump tapped him on the shoulder to do the inauguration, which, as we know, was a piggy bank for Ivanka to go running around, allegedly and entertainment purposes only. But we know 117 million went AWOL around the inauguration. He was in charge of that. But what he's actually been arrested for is back channels to the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. Someone's left their phone here and it's pinging madly. So remember back, that was when Kushner was shuttling back and forth to the Middle East, solving the Middle East. Yeah, right. He did so well, didn't he? So Barrack was the one who brokered those connections, and they thought they were smart and had encrypted, channels and things. But fortunately, the FBI, or probably CIA rather than FBI, maybe both, were able to crack it, and they found absolute mountains of to and fro, and they used that influence to lobby the Yeti. So it's getting closer, getting closer. This can't go much further without Kushner being hauled in. So let's have a look. First up with Tom Barrack. Okay, Tom Barrack. He's been arrested, pleading not guilty. Oh, the evidence is there. Lots and lots of evidence. So let's see the outcome for Tom Barrack first, and then if it'll affect and impact Kushner. I'm using the circus cards. Okay. Oh, 3 of Swords to kick it off. Oh, I wonder. Oh, that one looks like Giuliani. Now, Tom Barrack, who is literally, he's a real billionaire, apparently, unlike the trumpet who, you know, has assets worth a lot. And then when you peel back the layers, you find he only owns a little bit of them. Like he doesn't even own Trump Tower. I'd love to see the real estate deeds of Mar-a-Lago. I wonder if he even owns Mar-a-Lago. Does anyone know the answer to that question? Anyway, back to Tom Barrack, swallowing swords. Right. This is the Three of Swords. The thing with these guys, this is the thing. They don't think they're doing anything wrong, and they think they're really smart, and they think they deserve everything they've got. So they come with this idea of entitlement. They can't believe that they are subject to the laws of normal people. And you'd have to say there's not been a lot happening in the last year or two to make them think otherwise. But these are starting to come on stream now. His life is about to change completely and forever. Here's the Judgment card. Now, he can juggle and manipulate all he likes, but I'm not sure it's going to get him so far. I love this image. Check this out. The guy's juggling 2 strawberry ice creams and they're sticking to each other. So I think he's going to try 2 versions of the story, of his story. Oh, I didn't do that. I only did this. Oh, well, I said I only did that, but I did a little bit of this. I think he's going to get stuck in his own lies. Let's see how that plays out. So he has to make an assessment about what he's going to do. This would be which lawyer or team of lawyers am I going to employ? What's the strategy going to be? What's the legal strategy going to be? And none of these guys are as smart as they think they are. So that's the lawyer's domain. And to be honest, I wouldn't want to be defending him because there's recordings. Right? He then gets the Knight of Pentacles, the mercenary. And that would be because he managed to make vast amounts of money. Well, you can imagine. He goes to MBS and the other princes and goes, I can get, you know, the Yeti on the phone. We can do a deal. He'll agree to anything because he's a complete imbecile. We've got him in our pocket. Okay, thanks for giving me that 15 mil or 35 mil or whatever it was. So money changed hands and under the table, and he did it for the money. These guys, they don't even blink at selling their country out. They don't blink. It's just business to them. It's just business. Anyway, let's push on. So I'm going to leave those cards on the table and ask how soon, because I don't think it's an if, it's a how soon will this come back to Kushner? How soon will this come back to Kushner? Because he was dealing with Kushner more than the Yeti. Tom Barrack and Kushner. Let's look at that. Tom Barrack and Kushner. Tell me about their relationship. Barrack and Kushner. I'm experimenting. This is my new computer and it's balanced on a fruit bowl that's full of lemons. Yes, I know. It's a very high-tech channel here, and I'm sure you're in awe of my technological skills. Okay. This is Barrack and Kushner. Oh, look. Look, really, 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 really. I love the circus cards. I forget about them from time to time. And so many of them look like Giuliani. It's disturbing. Anyway, it kicks off. You know that thing about clowns? Everyone spends money trying to get clowns at their kid's birthday and take them to the circus and so on. Clowns are terrifying to most children, right? Okay. So this is him in relation, I think, to baby Kushner. He's been around a long time and a senior player, already had these established contacts. Kushner is a little thing, you know, this is a preschooler. So here we have the Nine of Swords. Things aren't going well with their relationship, you'd have to think about now. Look at these cards. Look at this. So I think this is Barrack, Tom Barrack, lying on the swords with the anvil on his chest. What's he going to do next? He's going to give up the kiddies. This is not a nice man. And this is followed by the Three of Pentacles, group work. And when it's group work, it's often nefarious group work. So I think he's going to, I'm sick of the expression under the bus. I think he's going to dump Kushner in it and one other person. Could be the Yeti or it could be someone else. But I think it's going to involve three people here. But I'll just leave you with this lasting image. Isn't it bliss? Okay, so that's Tom Barrack. Lots and lots of evidence. Okay, so I want to do a bit of a read here on Russia. So I've got my Russian cards because these leaks are coming from Russia about the dirt on the Yeti. And what I want to know is those lawmakers, remember they all went to Moscow on the 4th of July. Putin's got a sense of humor, hasn't he, really? Why don't you come over here? We will host you. Yes, come on the 4th of July. That would be very good. And they went, yeah. He's paying for our airfares. He's paying for these great hotels. Pity about the bugs in the chandelier. I mean, there's such dolts. And then I'm going to read on Nancy booting off Jim Jordan and the other Jim from the January 6th inquiry, because that's juicy. Okay, meantime, Russia. We've all known behind the scenes, Russia has dirt because he went back. Let's go back to the beginning. Remember when he did the Miss Universe things and all of that? Now, entertainment only. I'm going to make a big statement and say it's pretty safe to assume that if you're a person of significance, or even if you're not, Russia's intelligence services would know exactly where you went, who you spoke to, and what you said. So it wasn't mysterious that there was dirt. And everyone poo-pooed the Steele dossier. It's just going to be proved correct, the worst of the worst. So I want to know who's behind the leaks. Is it Putin or is it someone under Putin and Putin's not happy about the leaks? I don't know. It's not usual for Russia to leak. So let's see. What's the story on the Russian dirt? What's the story? Have a look. Yes. Here's what I think. I might be wrong. This is the card of the whistleblower. I think it's not so much Putin. Here's what I think. It's not so much Putin authorizing the leak, but he's left one or two people in high command and said to them, do what you think will do the most damage, you know, do it how you want to do it. And so I think it's someone else other than Putin actually authorizing the leaks. But here's the card of the whistleblower and speaking to the journalists. This is, bear in mind, this Russian deck is called the 12 Chairs deck, and the entire deck is based on people frantically looking for the jewels that are hidden. So this is people looking for the jewels, right? In other words, I think this is American journalists, or perhaps even UK or other Western journalists, looking for more dirt and looking for where the dirt comes from. I don't think they've found it yet. This is sort of business as usual, Russia keeping a straight face about it all. I don't think they've got to the source of the leaks. But the Four of Pentacles, not a happy character. So this is, I think, GOP members who are a bit worried. Now the leaks have started. Their lives have been barreling along. Now there's these leaks. Their little secrets and little dilettantes are going to come of age. They should be worried. Not happy. Not happy. Now, Nancy has pulled the plug, not without reason, on what's his name, Jim Banks and Jim Jordan. Now, I don't know anything about Jim Banks, but we all know about Jim Jordan. You know, he keeps his brain in his underpants. You know, he's not called a jock for nothing. I mean, you know, so one can only assume Jim Banks is as bad as he is. So what is our question about this? Now, Nancy has said, you've been trying to stack this. We're not going to tolerate it. I'm not going to accept it. So they'll moan and whinge and carry on. And I even saw somewhere yesterday where the Republicans have said, oh, we'll have our own inquiry into January 6th. Can you imagine? Well, all these patriots turned up and they were a bit exuberant, but, you know, they love America. That would be the result of that. You could spend $30 million and that would be the result, right? So there's no point in that. So what will be the outcome from Nancy virtually banning these two? Nancy banning the two Jims from the January 6th inquiry. What will be the outcome of that? Queen of Coins, Queen of Pentacles, often my Nancy Pelosi card. Celebrating the Eight of Swords, King of Coins. All right. This is Nancy. Sorry, it's hard to move the camera balancing on the bowl of lemons. See, Nancy's studying their form, literally, you know, and making this decision. There's a quick celebration. I know I got a little buzz from seeing that. There'll be this short-term celebration. Oh, thank God, not having to deal with those guys. But it'll be short-lived because the Republican Party, they're on their death march. You know, they can't help themselves. They'll back each other. They'll support these guys who are absolute cretins. And, you know, they'll do their best to undermine that. The King of Pentacles, which is possibly here, this could be Mitch McConnell. And I think Mitch is playing a double game. I think he'll support them publicly, but behind the scenes rail against them. But he'll do his bit. We are talking circus here. And he'll do his bit to sort of fight for them being there. In the end, we have a lady lion tamer. And I suspect Nancy's going to win in the end because I think the American public is divided anyway, but in this watershed moment, I think if you look at the independents, which actually decide these things, you know, the independents would want an independent inquiry. So in the end, there'll be a bit more support for Nancy. So I think they're going to give her a really hard time, but as my dad used to say, they can whistle for it because she's dealt with more than a few, you know, bad-tempered jocks. I think she can handle it. Okay, now we can't leave today and this video without looking at weather. So I'm going to look at the weather cards here. Remember, about a month ago or something, I did a video saying water. I just kept saying water. I was much more worried for water than fire. Now, we have terrible bushfires in Australia. We need those Chinook helicopters that dump water. I think we've got one or something. We need them. We need 10 of them. You guys need 10 of them, and so on. No. So what has our government done? It's ordered submarines. Yes, you heard that correctly. Instead of being able to put out bushfires that cause billions of dollars worth of damage and that happen every year because of climate change, no, we're buying submarines that are made in France, so they're not made in Australia, no work involved, you know, it doesn't create jobs. They're so high tech, they cost over $1 billion, which is a lot for Australia, and they're already 4 years behind or something. They'll be obsolete by the time they arrive. Like the Chinese and Russians would be laughing their socks off that we're squandering this money. It is so stupid. But I'm going to have a quick look here. Just hold on a moment. I'm going to pause this recording while I get my other cards. I'm back. I'm back with my normal cards now to look at weather in the USA. July going into August, it's a highly volatile time. We've got to also remember, and I picked this up from the astrologers a lot too, geologically, right, for those of us who still believe in science, right, the Earth shifts over long periods of time, and it's actually going through quite a shift. Not only the Earth, but the moon is apparently shifting a bit more than usual. Moon, water. So the terrible floods in Europe, terrible, terrible floods. Like normally the Netherlands is really onto it. You know, they've reclaimed the whole country from the sea. But this is what happens everywhere when you don't spend on infrastructure over time. And America has let its infrastructure go. And the whole, when you think of all those southern delta states, they're not called deltas for nothing. And your bayous and everything. I mean, you can't put a few sandbags out and hope for the best. The rivers are wanting to go back to where they went to the sea. And you're going to see more and more and more of this. So let's have a look at weather here, just in the next few weeks for now. Weather. Nice too. I just heard the Carolinas. So if you live in North or South Carolina, I would be taking some serious precautions, as well as if you live in a vulnerable part of Texas or obviously Florida. But the Carolinas, I think, could be hit. Yeah, come on down. Okay. Look, this is about the money yet again. Right now, for those of you learning tarot, Ace of Pentacles, woo, great, new beginnings with money, or it can be fool's gold. And in this case, I think not spending the money. So juggling the money for other things, juggling the money for big business, corporate welfare, never enough money for the public. this is short-sighted stuff. When I say short-sighted, they've got away with it for 30 or 40 years. But you see the turbulent seas underneath that. The devil, which I see it in the form of, in this case, short-sightedness and selfishness. If, I'll just digress, viewers. I haven't digressed for a while. The thing is this, unless we all cooperate together, we will all lose out together. The world is round. You can't throw things away because it's a circle, right? It doesn't go anywhere and you just end up to your eye teeth in your own crap. Okay, we've got to get rid of this thinking that we can put nuclear waste somewhere where there's no one. No. We don't recycle, really. We pretend we have separate bins for things. And then where does it go? Recycling mountains. We could be creating work in proper recycling in every country. We could do. Lowering the temperature of the planet we've known for 30 years is an absolute priority. What have we done? Nothing. That'd be zilch, nada. We've done nothing. So the point is, up until now, the rich have been able, and still can, say, oh, well, I don't have to worry about crime. I don't have to worry about global warming. I don't have to worry about anything because I can live in a gated community and use all the water in the state to have a beautiful tropical garden in the desert if I want. No, we all paid the price. And while these other boys can scoot off to Mars for a little boys' weekend away, it's not how most of us will experience the next 10 or 20 years, right? So to me, the devil card's speaking here. It's speaking to greed and it's speaking to selfishness. I think the country, meaning the USA, but in a greater extent, the world is now hostage to, not to climate change itself, to failure to act on climate change. We are now hostage to the climate we have helped create. We all have to take some responsibility. So those of us who have all been working in the alternative world for 40 years saying, don't you see what's happening? It's very frustrating to see it happen. We get no joy and glee about going, see, we were right. None, because we are now all hostage. See the water yet again. And we're being ripped off and failed, and I say we again globally, by leadership that keeps getting into bed with fossil fuels, keeps getting into bed with natural gas. Oh, it seems clean and you can't even see it. So it must be clean. Well, no, it robs the artesian basins of water that we need for the planet. Everything is connected to everything, and we've failed badly in this, and our leadership has failed us. And it's been a long time coming. It's since the Bush years. They've taken a long time to discredit science. You know, it's taken a while, but we can see by the millions of people who refuse to be vaccinated and don't think COVID's real, that distrust of science has also been responsible for this lack of action by governments. And again, global. If we keep voting in people for 3 years and 4 years, they're only interested in their 3 or 4 years, right? So every country has to have a 20-year plan for education, health, and the environment, bipartisan stuff. Everyone's gone into their own camps. When all our countries were prosperous, first world countries, it's when governments had bipartisan energy policy for the next 20 or 30 years. Health, well, you didn't, America. I don't know how the hell they got away with that, but they did. And everyone went to sleep at the wheel and went, well, as long as I've got a good job and my boss can pay my health care. No, that's your government's job, basic government's job. Anyway, you get my point. We're at critical mass. We are at critical mass. I think we're still 5 minutes to midnight. We can use some of this technological brilliance to save us, but that's where the investment should be. That's where the rewards should be, and doing small local things that matter. Small multiplied out is much more effective than big being plonked on top of a disaster. So there's lessons for all of us here, you know. So I'm not pointing fingers and going, oh, every major country has made the same mistakes. It's just America's bigger and made bigger mistakes. Well, that's the only difference. Okay, guys. I've been inundated for readings, which is lovely. So please don't request any more for now. But when I clear through these and I meet all these people, I'll let you know again. And I'm loving it. I'm so loving it. So you guys take care. Take care. I'm not going to say be good. That's up to you. Right? So keep cool in the hot weather, and I'll be back in a flash. Ciao. Bye. Bye. Bye.